All right. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am pumped tonight. As you know, I don't do these very, very often, but when I do, I'm usually very excited about what I'm about to present. But I'm even more excited tonight because I have some people with me who I don't usually have on these calls. So let me first get all the legal stuff out of the way. Chris, Mark, the people you're going to hear from tonight, we are not financial advisors. We are not certified financial planners. We are not certified financial anything in any way. We're not your financial advisors. We are strictly successful investors, entrepreneurs, and are sharing our journeys. So please do your own research, do your own due diligence. But I'm going to tell you about something that I came across that I'll be honest, if I would have heard this like in a random Instagram ad or Facebook ad or from someone I didn't know or some random YouTube video, I would have passed right by this opportunity, scam, and moved on to the next thing because it is one of those things that seem too good to be true. But for those of you that have been with me for a while, we know there's a lot of things that seem to be good to be true and are true. So it's just very, very rare that you have an opportunity that you don't have to put any money into. Let me repeat that. Not even rare. It's never happened. Okay. There are some where you can join without putting in money and you can refer people, and some programs they allow you to do that. But without referring anybody, without putting any money in, you can make $700 a month. Okay. So that's just a little preview. Let me introduce, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Josh Berman. I should have started with that. From the Berman Investment Group. Have with me my brother, my good friend, Chris Clark, with me as well. And from who's going to tell you a lot about this program, who's been doing it for a long time, and he's the guy you'll talk to when you get signed up. Mark Phillips. I'm going to really let him do a lot of the heavy lifting today. We're going to run through this program very, very quickly, but let me tell you the highlight details of why I'm so excited about it. One, you just heard. There is no financial investment or money out of your pocket, anything on your credit card, anything billed to you, anything at any time. There's never anything. You never take a dollar out of your pocket, ever. So that's the first thing. Number two, it is a real company. It's a real opportunity. I spoke to, thanks to Mark. He got me in touch with the owner of the company. We had a long, lengthy conversation. He's a really great guy from the advertising, industry, and has developed these relationships with these advertisers to have this opportunity brought to you. This is something that is just one of those things that most people don't know about because you really have to know somebody to be presented with this opportunity. From my vetting and analysis of this, I don't see a downside. There are additional benefits besides the passive income, business credit, and other things like that that will grow from it. I have not found a downside yet. The only downside is you can only do one at a time. That's the only downside that I've really found. So part of the reason why I even looked at this before I understood, not even part of the reason, the only reason why I looked at this before I really understood what it was because of Coach Chris, because I've known Chris for a while. He doesn't play in bullshit. He gets involved in very few opportunities, and they're always, very well vetted. So, not that I go into every single one, but I know they're always something to look at and always something to check out. And once I spoke to Mark and learned more about it, and then spoke to the owner and learned more about it, my experience in e-commerce made me aware that this model makes sense for both parties, and it's 100% real. And all you have to put in is a little bit of time, and you will get paid every month. And if you share with other people, you can get a nice little hit for anyone who signs up as well. So I'm going to leave it there because I'm going to really, that's probably going to be, I talk as much as probably the whole presentation Mark's going to do and give you exact information. But before we turn it over to Mark, I do want to turn it over to Chris Clark, my boy. And just to tell you a little bit about, he's been doing this a lot longer than I've been doing it. I'm new to this particular program. But Chris has been in it a while. He has people in his group who have been getting paid every month. And I just want to, turn it over to him so he can tell you a little more about, himself and why he got involved in this.
Wow. Well, Josh, thanks very much. This is wonderful. I see some familiar faces in here, so it's good to see that we run in similar circles. And it's obvious, we have the same mindset when it comes to things that we look for things that are easy, things that are beneficial for folks. And it's a testament people are here listening. So I appreciate all you guys being here, and thanks, Josh. And so just a little bit of my history with this is that I was introduced to Mark through another friend of mine. His name is Keith. And he was just kind of in passing. We met through the networking world. And he was like, "Hey, Chris, man, I'm doing this thing and I'm trying to figure it out. I'm getting like 700 a month and I don't really have to do anything. I just got to set some stuff up." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, sounds good." And then we never really talked about it again. And then he talked about it later. He was like, "Hey, man, this thing is starting to come through and I'm, got this thing set up." And I was like, "So wait a second, you're like getting 700 a month and you don't have to do anything, like anything?" And he was like, "Yeah, I know it sounds silly." And so as he tells me that, and then I start to, really dig deep into it, I start to think like, how can I tell other people about this? Like, how can I do it? Because when you start to tell people that you don't have to do anything and you're going to get this money, that's when they start smacking you around and saying, "Get away from me, get out of my face," because we were all conditioned to believe that's too good to be true. And so what I did was I watched it for a little while. I shared it with a couple of people, and then I started to see the machine work. Started to see the gears come together. And then as I grew closer and closer to Mark's been probably a little over a year now, almost 2 years now, and I just started sending more people his way. And more people started getting more and more excited about this program, about how they can literally, and anytime I put a post up in my Facebook group, people are like, "Yes, it is what he says. You don't have to do anything. You just have to qualify." And so Josh came to me, he said, "Chris, like, are you serious? Like, come on, I've been seeing you talk about this, like, for real, like, are you pulling my leg?" And I'm like, "Dude, come on, man. Like, I don't know a way to explain it. I'm trying to make it even sound more difficult. Like, you got to work like an hour a week, or you have to enter some data or something. But really, it's so simple. And you're not working, but there is the process working. And so you're just a piece of this puzzle. So you can't see it's like, no, I'm just, there's nothing happening and money's just appearing. But literally, you personally don't have to do anything. You have to provide some things, but that's it. And that's the beautiful thing about this. So I'm so glad each and every one of you are here. And so thank you very much, Josh, for having me on this call. I wanted to come support. I wanted to be another voice to where I could say, yes, and shake people. Yes, this is really what it is. And we don't like to talk much about the referral portion just because that's not real. I mean, yes, there's a good part of that, but that's not really why I do this. I did this because the compensation was different before it is now. But I do it for the fact that people are looking for something more right now. And they're looking at maybe taking a ride share like Uber or DoorDash or something, or adding something else and doing something else because our money is just not lasting as long right now. And so this is just something that people can put themselves in, align themselves with, and this can give them that boost until things bounce back. It can also give them some extra capital, make some moves and do some other things. So that's why I shared it. Josh, I know that's why you're sharing it. And so
absolutely.
I know that's
and for those of you that know Chris before this, he's that type of person. But just to explain the quick little part of the structure in the affiliate plan to prove what he just said, it's one level. So Chris, even though he's my guy who brought me into this, any of my people who go in, Chris doesn't benefit in any way. He's doing this because this is the type of people that we are, and we just want to share and get as many people involved in this amazing opportunity. Because like Chris said, we have other platforms right now. Chris and I are in some of the same ones. They all take some money to get involved. Here's one that literally takes no money to get involved. A little bit of time, a little bit of your personal documents, a little bit of faith, and then you just wait for your money. So with that said, let me turn it over to Mark Phillips.
Yeah, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you so much. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you. I know it takes a lot of time and effort and relationship building and doing the right thing in order to get people to attend your cause and the things that you want to do. You know, you put your heart and soul into it, and it's worth it. You know, I do it because I love to help people. I always have. And I like it even more when there's money involved. So what we're talking about tonight, it doesn't take very long to explain it. It is called the IBO program, which stands for Independent Business Owner. The way I like to explain this is that all of you, I'm pretty much sure, have seen ads on social media. Okay, you're looking through your Facebook and it pops an ad and you're like, oh yeah, maybe I'll take a look at that. Or no, I won't, you know. But then when you do, you usually see an ad, and at the end of the ad, it says to you, click on this link. It takes you to a website and you see a product that you were seeing in the ad. And if you want to buy it, you buy it. And if you don't, you just don't. Okay. Those products are mostly being pushed out by very large advertising companies that have been in this space for a long time and have been taking advantage of the massive stage of social media in advertising their products. You know, and I'm talking about all the things you've seen, you know, keto diet, you know, probiotic was the thing for a while. Now we've got collagen, you know, we've got testosterone. I always say the dog clippers because I got 5 dogs. So I even bought some of those myself. But, you know, you've seen the products, you see them everywhere. And these companies, they have a business model whereby to mitigate or to accentuate, I should say, their sales and to mitigate a little bit of risk, they are looking to partner with people with good credit. So good credit means we like you to be around the 670 area or above. And if your credit's in that space, well, you qualify for this program immediately. Okay. As Josh said, and Chris, we don't require any money down whatsoever. We don't want any money off you at all. So what are we going to do? We're going to open an LLC for you in your state, in your name, at your address. It's yours, 100%. You are the 100% sole member of your LLC. So now you're a business owner. Some of you may already be business owners. Some of you may have been thinking about being business owners, but let's face it, you got to pick up an industry, then you got to market it, then you got to figure out, do I need employees? Then you got to go buy a ton of stuff, build websites. It's expensive and it's very time consuming. It can be very rewarding, but if you don't know what you're doing, then it can wreck you. It could take all your money and all your time, and you may not, there's no guarantees that you're going to get anything. So this is a brilliant entry-level opportunity for people that could be in business or even people that have never been in business. So we set up an LLC in your state with your secretaryofstate.gov website, all 100% legitimate and legal. Then when we get your articles of incorporation, we will go to the IRS and we will get a tax ID number for your company, okay? Now, you can't get those things unless you're submitting the right documentation and it's legal 100%, okay? So then when we get that, we ask you to do one physical thing in this whole entire process. We're going to say, okay, guys, there's your documents from your Secretary of State. There's your IRS EIN number. Go down to this bank in your area. We'll pick the bank because we know which banks are nice to deal with and which ones aren't. And we'll just ask you to go down and open a business bank account for it. And then you get partnered with your advertiser. Your advertiser is partnering with your LLC, okay? And then they are running the entire business for you. They've already done their market research on what products they're going to buy. They spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on these products. They advertise them, they sell them, they do the shipping, they build the websites, they do absolutely everything. And all you do is sit back and watch your $700 a month check coming in. Okay. Now you tell me, does it get any easier than that? Now, also during this process, you're actually getting the experience of, you know, being a business owner. You've got your LLC now, business bank account. There's websites selling these products, but it's all being done for you. You're just sitting back and taking the money. All right. But also, as this product run goes on, and we will keep selling. I'm going to take my fiance's that I always bring up, Olivia. Her IBO is selling a testosterone product for the gym. It's just one product on that website. That's it. Okay. First 3 months of IBO sales, 97,000 in sales. Okay. Now that's not her money. She didn't put any money in, remember, but it's her company. And on paper, if you divide 97 by 3, so let's do it by 3 months, and then you multiply it by 12 over a year, you could say that she's the owner of a $300,000 to $400,000 a year company like that, immediately, turnkey, right? Because remember, these advertising companies have been doing this for a long time, and they're in it to win it. That product's going to sell for anywhere. I haven't seen a product run go past 3 years, but we will guarantee you, even if the advertiser gets all their market research wrong and they buy a product that no one wants, which has never happened, but let's say it did, you get paid for a minimum. Remember that, it's a minimum 6 months, even if we didn't sell anything. All right. But I've seen it go up to 3 years. So you can sit back and know that you've got a check coming in for minimum 6 months up to 3 years, and you just don't have to do anything to get it. Okay. The only thing you had to do was have good credit when you got in. Okay. The only reason we need you to have good credit is that the last thing that we do in the setup process before this goes live on the air and online everywhere is we need to open what we call merchant accounts. For those of you that are not familiar with what a merchant account is, whatever type of business you may own, if you want to accept credit card payments at that place of business, you have to go and open what we call a merchant account, and then you can accept credit cards. Okay, so that's the last thing we do. Those companies want to make sure that you're not opening up a sketchy account, to launder money, so that they give you a good checkout. Your credit has got to be good so we can get the accounts approved. Everything goes live and you start getting paid. So $700 a month. It's not going to change your life, but it's a nice chunk of change. Let's face it. Who doesn't want to get paid $700 a month coming in their bank account for not doing anything? I don't know anybody that does, maybe the very wealthy people, they don't care. And that's fair enough, right? But for most of us, that's a good chunk of change. Now, there's a few other benefits to this too. So let's go back to when I was talking about my fiance, Olivia. Now, she's the owner of this 30 to 40 grand a month company. And when she wants to fill out an application for anything, now, remember, this is an application. You've all filled out applications, right? They want to know how much money do you make and where do you make it? Well, guess what? Now you can add your company and all the income going through it as your income. It doesn't mean you're paying taxes on it. I'll get to that in a second. It means she can now put down whatever she's already earning and another 400K on that application. Who's going to deny her? No, nobody, right? So you will have that benefit also in motion working for you. And then at the end of the IBO, if you want to, I've negotiated with the group that you can keep that LLC, you can keep that business bank account open and all the great history it's accumulated. Because I don't know how many of you know much about business funding. I know when I started my first LLC, I didn't really know a lot about business funding, but it is personal funding on steroids. You want to get a hold of some capital to throw into some of the things that Josh and Chris are doing instead of taking it out of your own pocket? Well, then you create a business credit profile and you'll have access to all the money you've ever wanted and you can do whatever you like with it. But you need a business. Well, the IBO is going to provide it for you. And you don't have to do anything. Hello. Right. So we can help you to build a business credit profile around your successful company very quickly. And then we can go after all types of funding and capital. And I always tell everyone at the Private Millionaire Club up there, all my people, You cannot have enough credit. You want all the credit in the world you can get your hands on. It only depends on what you do with it that really counts. Okay, don't go off to Monaco, rent a big yacht down the Champers, don't go crazy. But if you've got access to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars just sat there waiting for you to use it, and if you're not using it, you're not paying for it. But it's there, and you can do whatever you want in your life. You can stop working for other people if you don't want to work for them, have your own business, start working with us, have multiple streams of income, and live life on your terms. Do things in your own time, spend time with your family and your loved ones, or do whatever the hell you like whenever you want. All right. So the IBO gives you income, it gives you power, and it gives you endless possibilities when you learn business funding, which we will teach you. So how do you get into this? If your credit score is 700, 670 or better, you qualify. If it's less, book an appointment with me regardless, because I'm not tooting my own horn here, but I'm very good with credit. I know a lot about it. I've been with people that have shown me all the ins and outs and the tricks that most people have no idea about. So I can help you to get your score up pretty quick without it costing you a penny. Now, if you've got some real nasty negatives on your credit, hey, it happens to us all. I lost my ass in 2008, lost my houses, my 9/11, my girlfriend. I lost it all. But hey, you know what? You get yourself up, you dust yourself off, and off you go again, right? Because that's what being an entrepreneur is all about, right? You are going to hit some bumps in the road, but you're going to get up, dust off, and you're going to get back in again, because those are the people that win, okay? And I know there's a lot of winners on this call. So want to get into the program? Book a call on my calendar link that Josh and Chris are going to share with you. Just book a 30-minute call. We will talk about all your questions, comments, concerns, whatever it is you want to talk about. I'll answer your questions and give you honest, clear clarity and advice on the program. And then it's an email intro to the team and you're on your way. If you don't have good credit, you need some credit repair. I have a genius of a girl in Orlando, Vanessa. She can help get anything off anyone's credit, and she's not expensive. All right. So shouldn't be anyone on this call that we can't help. All you got to do now is help yourself. So with that said, I want to thank Josh and Chris again for allowing me to come on here to talk to you good people. And by the way, if there's any veterans on this call, I'm a 9-year British veteran, 7 years in the Special Forces. I commend you, my friends, and your families. It's a hell of a sacrifice, and God bless you. But I'm going to hand it back over to the boys and reach out to me, book your appointment. Let's get things going for you, and let's make 2023 the best year ever.
Josh, let me jump in real quick. Thanks, Mark.
Go on.
I just want to share my screen real quick so you can see exactly what you're going to be doing when it comes to clicking on that link. Okay, so that because I know we just want to make sure you can click a 30-minute, 60-minute. When you get there, what you're going to do is you're going to pick whatever date or time that you like. Okay, you're going to pick that time. Now you're confirm it. Here on this page right here, this is important. Make sure you have the best phone number to call. Okay, make sure you include your phone number, and also please share how you heard of it. Are you a guest of Josh or are you a guest of Chris? So you say, look, I'm a guest of Josh and my phone number is this, and you want to fill that in. Okay, so I want to make sure that's clear, because I know sometimes Mark reaches out to me to try and track people down.
Me too.
I want to alleviate that process so that you guys don't miss out, because you may think that you're doing it, but include your phone number. That's the most important thing, is to include your phone number in that box right there. All right, back to you, Josh.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you. That was actually something I was going to mention without the visual. So even better with the visual. Yeah. Make sure you put the number. Mark's already reached out to me, to a few people I gave previews of this to saying, hey, I don't have this person's phone number, and make sure you put either mine or Chris's, name, or whoever told you about this, because it is a private thing. So Mark doesn't take these calls unless you were referred from someone that's already, involved with him in the program. So Mark, thank you very much. That was awesome. As always, I appreciate that, because this is a question that I got from the first few people I told this to, and then we'll open it up for questions. And this is one that I didn't even need Mark for, because my experience in e-commerce really, told me, why this works. So the question is, why does this company or these people, these advertisers, need us? Why don't they just do this themselves? Right now, for those of you that are in my group, you know that I work with Amazon and Walmart automation companies. And the answer in many ways is similar, because we've gotten that question in that business as well. And that's how I know this. So you have to realize how many times these advertisers are doing this. Thousands and thousands of times. From a legal standpoint and from a business credit standpoint, you would never want to do it under the same company. And if for anyone who's in business, I have multiple businesses. Everything you do, you want usually to be in a separate LLC. It's just the proper way to do things, a smart way to do things. And individuals can't have thousands and thousands of companies and expect that in the later amounts of those companies that they're going to still be getting business credit, because they're going to look like they're spread too thin because of all these other companies that they have going on. And this is what gets them the relationship, or the official relationship. They already work with the merchants, but the merchant accounts, but this is what gets them that official relationship with the merchant accounts, is this person's individual credit, which is also why you can only do one at a time and why they need other people. So they run everything for you. There's no money, no credit, no nothing that's needed. They just need more people, because there's so many products that every time they do a product, they need another company. And then to have another company, they need another person. And it's really that simple. I guess with that, I'm going to turn it over to any questions that we have while we have Mark and Chris, with us. And then, of course, if you don't want to speak out on the Zoom call and you just want to set up your call with Mark, you can do that and ask the questions privately. But if there's anything that anyone wants to, to ask, we can raise your hand or unmute or put it in the chat. I know my group's never this quiet. I think never this quiet. And I've seen some of my people I know are never this quiet. They must just be still like wondering, like, really?
Like, really?
Josh, you've never steered us wrong before, but this one really really?
Hey Josh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
It's Mike Webster. How you doing?
Hey Mike, how are you?
I'm good. I saw someone raise a question about taxes, and so if they could just talk about the taxes, I think that would help a lot of people.
Sure,
yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, so good question, by the way, and very important. So come the end of the calendar year, so let's take this year as an example, 2023. At the end of the calendar year, tax time, as it always is for everybody, the advertising company that partnered with your LLC, you have a partner agreement that both of you sign, they are going to issue the LLC a profit and loss statement. Okay, that's an official document, P&I sheet, that you are going to submit to your accountant when you file your LLC tax return. The profit and loss sheet will account for everything that the advertiser did. So putting the money out for the LLC, buying the product, building the websites, customer service, shipping, everything line itemized. And at the bottom, there will be a number. That number is the number that they are responsible and liable for paying taxes on. And I use the word liable because remember, your tax accountant's filing an official IRS document with a profit and loss sheet attached to it from that company. So they are paying taxes on any profit the business has made. You, the LLC owner, is only responsible for paying taxes on the revenue share that you received that year. So if you receive 12 months of revenue share, that's $8,400. So, and there's one other thing I got to include here that we haven't done yet, is that once you start getting paid, we are going to recoup $250 from you for the first 4 months. So for the first 4 months you get paid, you'll get a $700 check minus $250, which is $450 net. We're recouping our costs for everything we've done for setting up the entire company and continuing to run it for its entirety. So whether it goes on for a year, 2 years, 3 years, no one's going to ever ask you for anything else. And remember, you don't get paid, we don't get paid, right? So $250 comes out of the first 4 months payments. You net 450, and then it's 700 every month thereafter. Just want to be clear on that too. But there is nothing that you have to come out of pocket with at any given time. So back to taxes. You
hold
pay
on one
the
second before you do that. Just to clarify that last part, just to reiterate. Okay, that 250 that they're paying back, they pay that back when they receive their monthly 700. Not like your money's coming, send the 250 now. Like when they receive the 700, then they pay back the 250. So there's never any money out of pocket. But the first 4 months, they're only making $400. So what I've been telling people is the worst case scenario, $3,200, right? 6 months of $700 is $4,200 minus the 250 times 4, $3,200.
Yeah, with no money down and no work.
Right. So, and in terms of taxes, and this is something that we've talked about in various other programs, you only pay taxes on the money that you make as an individual. So when you file your individual taxes, you're only going to pay taxes on the money that you make, which is your $700 a month and $450 for those 4 months. And when Mark was talking about them being required to pay this, I think it's important to state this is contractually, right? So that when you sign up and you agree with this advertiser, there is a contract that's put in place that states that they are the operators and runners of this company. They're responsible for paying the taxes. All of this information is contractually agreed upon, not just you're hearing about in the program. This is like a written agreement that I have read personally. I've ran by my attorneys and is, safe and protection.
Can I just add one last thing on that,
Please.
Josh? So, some people are like, well, what about if they did hundreds of thousands of dollars in profit and they just ran away? Well, you're still not liable for it because it's on a profit and loss sheet. But remember, these companies are very smart, like we are, all are. Right? I know that there's nobody on this call that's paying excess in taxes, right? Why would we? Why would we give the IRS our money if we don't have to? So how do you mitigate that? Well, you claim for expenses, right? Because you're running a business. So that revenue share that you've received, if it is $8,400 for 12 months minus the $1,000 that we recouped, $7,400, you're the owner of a business now. So you got business expenses, you got a phone, you got a laptop. Oh, you had to go to dinner a few times. You can claim gas mileage and all kinds of things. And now your tax accountant should know that anyway, right? And he should be able to claim expenses for you. So you really shouldn't be paying any money, any taxes on that.
That's a good point. Worst case scenario, if you don't write any additional write-offs, you pay the $700 a month. But if you have a good enough accountant, he should be writing off that $700 a month.
Correct. And if you don't have a good accountant, talk to one of us three. We do.
Right.
Okay.
There was a couple questions in the chat. One is, can you use an existing LLC? No, they set up everything for you the way that it needs to be done. When your credit is checked, is that a hard pull?
Yes.
Okay.
Hard pull will only damage your score 1 to 5 points. But when we apply for the merchant accounts, that's a hard pull. That's the last thing we do in the process. So, and just to elaborate on that slightly, when we ask you to have a credit score of 670, we need you to keep it there while we're setting up the company. Because the last thing that we need is to get to the last point before we go live when we open the merchant accounts and you've been out on a crazy shopping spree and maxed out all your cards and now you've got a 600 credit score and we just spent thousands of dollars setting up a company for you and now we can't get your merchant accounts approved. So what we ask you to do is for 30 to 60 days in that area, less usually, just keep your credit score where it needs to be until it goes live and then you can go do whatever you like.
So I got two questions. I got one in the chat and I got a question that's coming from multiple people on my phone. So I have some people who are not quite at 670. Is it a hard 670? Is there leeway? What's the, because I have people who tell me they're in the 650s, 660s.
Okay. Just on this call right now with the people that are on it. Okay. This is something I'm giving away. I've not done this before on any calls before. If you're at, let's say you're at 640 or higher, but you're not quite at 670. Get on the phone with me, talk to me, send me a screenshot of your credit, or I'll send you a link for Experian, your free credit report and your score. I want to see what your score is. And then I'll add you to one or two of my credit cards as a favor. I could be charging you thousands of dollars to do that, by the way. I'll add you as a user to get you over the hump and into the program, and then I'll take you off again, and I'll do that as a favor to only the people on this call
Wow.
today.
I don't even know if people understand what that does. There are companies out there that you pay to be put on high credit line credit cards or lines of credit and things like that, because it increases your credit score. Because just like if you go into your credit score right now, your credit, report now, and you look at just your credit cards, and let's say you have a 5,000 credit card, a 10,000 credit card, 2,000, whatever it is, you're now going to show a $20,000 credit card or a $100,000 line of credit, depending on what, the situation is. So this is something that I've never in my entire life seen someone offer as a free thing, because this is something that you pay credit repair companies to do that for you.
Credit lines will cost you thousands to get on.
Yep.
It's free on this call, everybody. Take advantage of it.
Wow. So for those of you that have been messaging me, there you go. I'll send you the link, set up the call, or the link's in here, set up the call. Can you have more than one LLC? And these two questions probably go together. You probably answer it together. So what if your product only lasts 6 months? Can you get another one, or are you done? And can you have more than one LLC?
Okay, so once your IBO is over, however long that is, even if it's 6 months, you can then go into another one once it's all closed down and finished, okay? Can you have more than one LLC? Well, it's a bit of an open-ended question, but in the IBO program, you can only have one IBO at a time, unless you have two separate addresses and driver's license and utility bills for those two addresses. Some people do, not everybody does. But so typically you can only have one IBO. Now in this world, you can have 1 million LLCs if you want them, and you can have 1 million business credit profiles for your 1 million LLCs. But in the IBO program, it's one per person, one per household.
What about when I'm sorry, I was reading questions at the same time, so I'm sorry if I missed it. Did you answer about doing another one after you're finished?
Yeah, you can do another one.
Do they need to change things, addresses, things like that? Or are they just able to?
The Secretary of State and the IRS, and pretty much all the bank and everyone that we go through this process with, we need you to have your driver's license needs to match where you live. Okay, so if it doesn't, get onto the DMV website right now and order a new one with the updated address on it. We need to have a utility bill with your name on it. Okay, and then your bank statements will also have to match your home address. Okay, so a little bit of admin there for a few people maybe, but what I always tell people is that when I introduce you to our team at VIP IBOs, they do have workarounds for things, but they will take each case by case basis. So what I tell you people that come on in now, when I match you up with your manager, you just tell your manager, hey, I don't have this right now, but I got this. And they 99 times out of 100 have a workaround, okay? So look, we're in it to win it with you, because once we get you going, we're all getting paid and everybody's happy, and long may it last. The longer it goes on, as far as we're concerned, the better.
Hey, Mark, I have another question for you.
Yeah.
If you don't have a utility bill in your name, will a bank statement work?
Well, yeah, bank statement's one of the documents we're going to need, but do you have a phone bill in your address?
Well, the reason I'm asking, because everything is in my name. All the bills and everything are in my name. All the utility bills, everything.
But I have a credit. I have credit.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, right? When you come in and I introduce you to the team and you get your account manager that works with you, getting everything set up for you, you tell them, hey, everything's in so-and-so's name, but I don't quite have this. And they'll say, okay, well, do you have one of these or do you have that? They've always got a workaround for stuff. So we'll find a way to get it done. Believe me.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Real quick, I gotta, folks, I have to take off. My son has got practice. I gotta run him to practice. And so I gotta jump off of here. But Josh, Thank you so much
Yes.
very much for inviting me. Mark, you always do an amazing job. And the rest of you guys, thank you so
Thanks,
much
Chris.
for coming here.
Chris, thanks for being on.
Definitely schedule a
Yeah.
call, even no matter what situation you're in. And if you have a question that's not answered here, you're going to have a one-on-one with Mark, and he's going to answer all those private questions for you guys. Thanks again, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Chris.
Anyone else?
I had one other question as far as the $800 referral. At what point is that released?
Okay, so good question as well. And I'm glad you brought that up because, as I said before, $700 a month is a nice chunk of change. Now, if you bought in one referral a month, you would more than double that amount. You'd be making $1,500 a month.
We haven't told them yet. There you go. There it is. I keep getting questions. I didn't know if you were gonna release it. There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I pay directly for the people that you bring in. You know, obviously, I am very appreciative of the fact that Josh has worked hard to build a network, and so has Chris. But you know, for me to start doing an MLM would be a nightmare for me. And I'm a one-man band. I'm up here at 3,000 feet in the North Carolina mountains where I choose to be on a 300-acre farm away from everybody and everything. But you know what? These guys work hard, but I only pay direct. So if you bring me a referral, you're going to get an $800 one-time commission. Now, to answer the question, once the IBO signs the partner agreement with the advertiser, so we've set up the LLC. I'd say it's about 30 days from the time we start getting it all set up, right? Sign the contract with the advertiser, you get paid your $800. One referral a month, you just more than doubled your money.
And then one other question, Mark, is that 800, is that a separate 1099 from the IBO?
It'll come from me. I'll be paying you.
Thank you.
1099 will come from me.
Understood.
Yeah.
I got a quick question. So I do apologize if you guys already covered this. I was a little bit late to the meeting, but just real fast, what are the biggest risks associated with this this model?
Basic risks.
Yeah, like what kind of risk can we encounter? Because I mean,
and just so you know, Mark, the person asking the questions has a lot of experience in e-commerce, so he's familiar with the space on the same side of the business that I am.
You know, I'm just trying to think what your risk is. I mean, you know, you're not investing any money. There's no risk financially. You're partnering with a company that's, you know, writing a contract with you, so they're responsible for everything that they're responsible for. You know, they're really just using your credit to get the merchant account set up. So, risk-wise, I don't see much risk. Okay. You know, they're buying the product, they're shipping it, they're doing everything, building the websites. You're not doing anything. You're just a credit vehicle for the merchant accounts.
When I asked the owner of VIP IBOs, what's the worst thing that's ever happened in the years you've been doing this? He said the worst thing that happens is something happens where, you know, he says most of these things go between a year and 2-ish years. He says sometimes things happen where it only goes 6 months, 7 months, you know, 8 months. And, you know, unfortunately we lose a merchant account, or we, you know, the product runs its course quicker than we expected, but it's not no risk. You just didn't make that money for, I mean, it's not really a risk. It's just what's the worst case. And I said, what about a problem with a product or anything like that? He says, it's never really happened. And this is the reason why you have an LLC, because the LLC, and you guys can read about this, you know, yourselves, you know, protects you from, you know, personal liability, and especially personal financial liability. So, you know, after speaking with my, you know, people, we've really determined, as far as we can see, that there's really no risk. You know, there's nothing that can really happen.
Just one quick follow-up question, because I'm essentially intending on showcasing this to my client base. But do you have some kind of like slide deck or presentation or landing page or anything like that they would be able to gather more information from before they actually set up a call with you?
Not at the moment. I can send you a link to a live IBO website so you can actually show somebody what one looks like, and and you'll see that it's just a basic website like I explained on social media that's selling a product. So you can show them a website, you can show them my video, put them on a call with me. I'll answer all their questions. But we're working with hundreds of different advertisers, and they are all over the world. So
John, I have which you haven't seen yet, but I'll send to you. I have a 7-minute video that is of Mark explaining this and I think a really good tight 7 minutes. And that's what I've been using for the people that I teased this to before the call today.
Okay. Awesome. I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, of course.
yeah, we'll share them the website link as well, Josh, so they can see what one looks like.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. Awesome. Sounds good, guys.
Thanks.
No, so there's no real referral link because it all goes through the referral side of this. So Mark isn't the IBO company, but has the relationship with the IBO company. So the IBO company is the one that is setting up the whole relationship with the advertiser, the contract, and handling all of that for you. Mark is strictly kind of the on the affiliate referral side of it. So he's the one that you're going to have the call with that will explain, because he's been doing this for years himself personally and for a lot of his people. And then this is why it's very important to put your referrer's name in the in that note section, because Mark only takes people who were referred by people. Mark has other things that he's involved in. So if you're specifically going to him for the IBO business, you need to be referred by somebody. I got a question from someone in my phone about what happens if you don't sign up. Can you refer people? Let's say your credit's not good enough or whatever the case may be. The answer is yes. How that would work from a referral standpoint, you would still set up a call with Mark. You would tell him that you can't do it for whatever reasons or blah, 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 but you're going to share it with your network. Mark will now have you in his system. And now when your name is put on a calendar listing, you will get the credit for it, just like someone who's in the IBO program. Mark, are you able to put a link in the chat for them to take a look at a store, an IBO?
Yeah. Let me do that right now.
Then I think.
I have too many pages open.
No worries. Hold on one second.
I'm copying the link right now. Let me get back up to you guys. Let me go to the chat. Here we go. Okay, everybody, I'm posting it now. There you go. Now, this one that I just posted, that has a few different products on it. Typically, most of the time, we're only selling one product, but it could be one, it could be a few. So that would just give you a little look at, how simple the business is. And, we're just, after a bit of market research, we're just selling what we believe people are going to buy, and for as long as they buy it.
And because really, like, the business thrives on the value of the advertising, and that's why the people, and this is one of the things that made me feel much more comfortable when I spoke with with the owner of the company. His background is in advertising, so he works with advertisers that specialize in, let's be honest, that's how everything sells these days, especially on social media. So by the time you get to the site, in most cases, it only needs to be simple, because they're there because they're buying what you just what they advertise, because they advertise in the right place to the right people. Anything else?
Hey, Josh.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Barely.
Hey, I'm sorry. Yes, I was just wondering. I'm not on the Zoom, so what was the link that was put into the Zoom? I'm on using the telephone line.
So I can't really hear what you're saying, but I think so. The link that he put in, I'll send. Is that Farouk?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll send you the link. It was a link to a sample IBO store.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'll send out that link. Now that I've launched this, I'll send out the video, the 7-minute video in the group, and And then I'll also put the link again to Mark's calendar, which is how you would get started. Or ask more questions.
All right, Nick, appreciate it.
No problem. No problem. All right. Well, if there's no more questions, we are going to end this Zoom. I'm going to thank Mark so much for your time. I greatly, greatly appreciate you for bringing this opportunity to the world, because it really is something incredible that, you know, I never knew really existed. And I'm a little in the e-commerce space. So this is really something that's absolutely amazing. Like I said, I know people from Chris's group who are getting paid. I know this to be legitimate, and it works with no money. And it's a real company. Like I said, I've spoken with the owner, a really great guy, very experienced. I actually, my former life before investing, I work in the advertising, marketing, public relations space, and we know people in common, and he knows what he's doing. And he's been doing it successfully for, you know, the last few years, and no reason why it's not going to work, you know, for all of you. So I'm excited to be able to bring this to you guys.
I do have one quick other question, Josh. I'm sorry. Is it possible, although we are using our credit, can we be paid as can we be 1099 through our LLC, our own personal LLC?
We'll send your $700 wherever you want us to send it.
Okay.
There you go. So yes, so you can have it sent to the business, and then you would file it as business income.
Okay.
Correct.
I have a question, if it's possible.
Sure.
It's regarding this. I'm not very familiar with the LLC, but anyway, can we be held responsible? Like, let's say the company that we are signing up the contract with, the advertisement one, they make a lot of profits, and at the end, kind of like, is that possible that we can pay taxes for those profits? We can be kind of like, you know, made responsible for that?
No, there's no, because you're not really as an individual being paid that profit, and the way that the agreement is set up and the way that the money is dispersed is you're not making the money. The partner, the advertiser in the agreement, is the one who is controlling those funds, and you would only pay taxes on the $700 or whatever you were able to write off. For less than that $700, right? You take a friend of yours out to dinner, you tell them about it, you write off that meal. You know, there's ways to work that down, but the worst case scenario would be you would be paying taxes on your $700 per month.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Anyone else? All right. Well, Mark, thank you again. I appreciate it. So that is it. Thank you all. I love you all so much. And remember, this 2023, this is the year. 2022 was my biggest year yet financially. 2023 is definitely going to be even bigger, and I'm taking everyone with me. So let's do this and let's go big together. I love you, fam.